Another day, another chapter. But before that, rub and tear until it is done, shouted the paper shredder to the office as a whole. Yeah, corny, but it made you laugh, didn't it? A quick thank you to the T5 peeps, Bob the Dragon, Datamagnet, Cat Crab Lobster, DuckMachine, Astraya the Dreamer, Mezec, Feudic Jarl, and Casper Arnholtz. Thank you very much. Another day, another chapter. But before that, rub and tear until it is done, shouted the paper shredder to the office as a whole. Yeah, corny, but it made you laugh, didn't it? Anyways, onto the story. Why did it have to be a human? Chapter 3. The beeping alarm would not desist. It was like a pulsing hammer, intolerable. Bang! Bang! The world was shaking and then utterly quiet. Were it not for the beeping, it would be a good time for a nap. Then came the hammer again, this time square on the chest. Aurelia gasped and took in several short breaths, heaving from electric shock. There was a ringing in her ears, so she read the message on her visor's synthetic view. You have suffered an abnormal cardiac rhythm due to regeneration drugs. An electric shock was administered to correct the issue. Please seek Class 2 medical attention. She felt like a freight drone had slammed into her. The readouts were not good. Her left leg was broken in 2 places. Medifoam had expanded on key areas to form an emergency splint, but internal bleeding was detected, triggering the release of blood thinners as per medical protocol. Her right arm was not much better. 1 compound fracture, no internal bleeding, Medifoam hardening already. A litany of subdermal hematoma seemed to dominate the nest. She would be shedding scales for weeks. A type B contusion was detected, and a hairline fracture of her upper left cranial plate needed medical intervention. Debris around her, trying to move it out of the way, was a Herculean effort. The servo motors of her exosuit struggling to lift the massive weight. Microgravity was still gravity, and if you had to move 4,000 pounds, it was going to be difficult, no matter what. When she finally got free and took a look around, she decided that the prince was going to die. She would rip his heart out if she got the chance. What at one point had been the rear section of the Taxon ship was now a collection of debris hanging in space. She imagined that the other cargo holds looked exactly the same, torn to pieces, holes everywhere, junk collecting in pockets of microgravity pulled together by the collective mass. And then she finally acknowledged the beeping. There was a crack and a hole in her helmet's faceplate. The crack was fixing itself, a nano layer filling in with the goo. But the hole was another beast completely. A small energy screen being projected to hold the atmosphere in a suit, but that was costing energy. Too much energy, about 1% per minute. Her suit's energy cells would be depleted in less than half an hour at that rate. She reached for a roll of tape in the patch kit on her belt, taking out a piece and slapping it on the hole, the mild adhesive latching on. It made a poor seal, but that was fine. Peeling off the back of the tape triggered an exothermic reaction, and the strip started to melt into the composite, turning translucent and starting to harden within a minute. The suit system deemed it a proper seal and shut off the energy screen. Taking in her first deep breath since she'd been woken up, she scanned the room. Others with similar situations to her were getting up from the debris. The name of Evanar popped up into her visor. His suit had declared him dead. She cursed loudly, but the sound, much like her anger, remained trapped within her. We are trapped, Kayla. I can't find it on my senses. Hercule had scanned the mess hall for half a dozen times. No signs of danger, just the corpses of his comrades. He wasn't a soldier, just a poor excuse for a combat engineer, whatever that meant. All he knew how to do right was holding a plasma torch steady. However, he was trying hard to keep himself together, being aided greatly by the drugs coursing through his system. He moved to the last corner of the room, full sweep. Nothing. The danger had passed. It was not in the room anymore. So what was next? Meeting with the 11th on the bridge or going towards the prince. More body there's more protection. The 11th squad was isolated and this monster had decimated 7 and 12 after getting out of stasis. No, the best idea was strength in numbers. I don't know how, but it's clear that it's going after stragglers in small groups. We should meet up at the main force in Cargo A. Kale nodded. She had been unable to speak since the initial shock. There was something wrong. So very wrong. Hakil had stepped on something wet, and when his synthetic view cleared out the hallway with a sweep of infrared, he saw body parts highlighted with a red outline. Thus lay the 11th in a hallway bathed with their blood, floor and walls a crimson red. It was far too much for him. He just crumbled under the pressure and fell to his knees. Kale placed a hand on his shoulder and knelt next to him without a word. No sapient did this. Such carnage, such reserved for beasts and demons. They passed a few minutes like that, just staring at the carnage, waiting for the devil to take them both. But death did not come collecting, and the despair started to give way to desperation, bargain, and the most cruel of emotions, hope. We get into the escape pod and reach the SEP, then we can get out of here. Hakil's words sounded more like a desperate plea than a plan, but Kale nodded, helping him get up. The two of them going their way. Albeit not the only ones with plans to reach the sepulchral tone. Aurelia had organized what was left of the 2nd, 3rd, and 5th squad into a singular unit. Not that it was much. 3 severely injured, 1 unconscious, and another that could stand if given assistance. To her shame, she was the one that could barely stand. But they had enough fuel on their pack thrusters to reach their ship. She would negotiate for any survivors, and if the negotiations were unsuccessful, blow what was left of the Taxan ship to scrap. Jalna looked upon his herd brother Hutner and mangled body, kicked to death by one of the Taishalva hateful lizards. What had any Taxan ever done to them but toil under their cruelty? His brother had done nothing but look up, and that beast had showed his teeth, then kicked him over and over. No sleep for his brother. It was awful. Tears welled up from deep inside. He heard the talks that they were having. What horrors would befall them when he knew not to describe. Words of wronging and the visit of death upon their fear. There would be no sleep for these Tri-Shelva. For heaven's river bore a fire. That fire was called Human, Son of Terror. End of chapter. And that, my friends, concludes this video. I hope that you enjoyed, and if you do, please consider supporting the author, even by popping over and leaving a thumbs up or a nice comment, just to show your appreciation for the story. However, if you wish to support this channel, there are links down below which will help immensely. I will see you all in the next one, and until then, I hope that you have a fantastic day. Cheers.